What are we doing today, Como?
We're working on the truck. The mission is to get this clutch back in, flywheel, pressure plate, get it running, pretty much.
Gonna be ready for full-size takeover?
It's gonna be ready. It's gonna go. It's gonna go places.
Okay, so one of the first problem areas that I'm going to be addressing is this transmission crossmember. The person that put this truck together opted to drop the tail of the transmission about 2 or 3 inches, I'm guessing to try to achieve something with drive shaft angles, but the problem is that it's now welded in place and the clutch on this thing is on its way out, so I'm going to need to fabricate something new that can be unbolted if you need to change the clutch. And I also want to push the tail of the transmission and the transfer case back up to where it's supposed to be. Hopefully that'll get me a little bit better clearance and make some room for a heavy belly pan on this. I'd rather not plant this cast aluminum transfer case on rocks. It's just going to break and it's not going to be pretty. Okay, I've got the trans mounts unbolted and I've got everything supported at about the height I think it should be. So now it's time to cut out what's left of this old crossmember. I've got everything clamped up here. I like the position of everything, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and tack everything up. I'm not going to fully weld it at this point. I might add some gusseting later, and if I need to make adjustments, I only want to have to cut tack welds off, not a full weld. Got some side plates on there. It's going to be 3 3/8 bolts through the side of the frame. Same thing on the other side.
The next day.
Supposed to have a flat like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, see, the problem is I borrowed Tom's transmission jack, and it wouldn't lift high enough.
Okay.
So we had to drop some pressure out of the tires to get the truck lower so we could actually set the transmission on the jack. What the hell? Oh God. That doesn't look like a bolt going through it. That looks like one piece of metal. How's it even work?
How does it work? Science.
That long ones definitely go into the pan. What the? I wondered what hit me in the head. I want you to understand something though, Mike. When I pulled apart my Ranger and my Explorer to start the motor swap, I didn't own any air tools.
Took it all apart by hand.
I took it all apart by hand, and my entire toolkit fit in a box small enough I could pick it up and carry it. And I took both those vehicles completely apart with that. This is the front of a 1350 case. This would have been an 80s Ranger or Bronco too.
Okay.
So here's your planetary set. That goes in there, right?
That's what we need for load.
We're chopping it right here. We don't need the front output anymore. We're just keeping the range box.
No.
This guy goes in the planetaries,
Yeah.
right? Here's your shift fork. So this is your low range engagement. Here's your shift fork.
Yeah.
And then that engages this shaft. This is the main shaft that runs through
And
the
now
trans. So this thing gets chopped here, right at the back of the teeth. Don't need any of this. That's an output shaft out of a Ranger transmission.
I could tell it's massive.
Yeah. We're gonna cut and leave like maybe 3/4 of an inch of the shaft there and all the splines. Pour the back of this, press that sucker in there, and weld around it. And that's the sector shaft. This will have the same output as the transmission, and you plug the other transfer case right on the back of this. There will be an adapter plate here
then you just have to cap.
Yeah, so it caps this. You drill and tap like a fill plug and a drain plug into it, and then you just put the other hole pattern so the other one can bolt up to it.
Huh.
So you're using...
How do you support the back half of this?
Don't have to, because the other transfer case
We'll sit
supports
there
it.
with it.
You don't have to, but you probably should. This is the...
Range fork.
Yeah, so the range fork rides on this, and that sits right in here. You gotta chop like an inch off of this, and I want to try to counter bore into the mid plate a little bit, so it's got support on this end. Most guys don't, but I feel like it'll work better if I do.
Yeah, I feel like you have the machinery too. Huh. Planetaries. That's cool.
And then,
So it's,
so this has 4 pinion planetaries in it. That box has 6 pinion planetaries in it, and I have another one in my garage. So you can take the 6 pinion planetaries out of the other box
stuff
and
this one with
stuff
it.
them in this. You just need the shift fork to go
Do you
with
need
it.
the ring?
I don't think you need to change the ring. There was a company that used to sell the plate and the sector shift.
Yeah,
But, you know,
someone was selling
there's
them
only
for
like
the-
7 people in the world that actually want one, so.
People selling them for the Jeep stuff because a lot more people want it. But it's the same thing.
So I was worried that like this would be my weak link, would be the weld right here. But then I saw the input shaft on that transmission. I was like, never mind, that's the weak link. That might be bigger than the input shaft.
It might be an extra tooth or two.
That's a 25 spine.
Huge.
Huge.
That's